Hey everyone, Culver here, and today we're going to cover the top 10 rares that in my opinion play a substantial role in everyone's account, even during mid game and up to late game. So first of all, these rares are not going to be void rares. These are rares that can be obtained from mystery shards and ancient shards, of course. And the reason I'm not covering void shards is because void shards have their own specific place. It's much harder to get void shards. So by covering rares that can be obtained from mystery shards and ancient shards, this means that are obtainable by most of the players currently playing, even from mystery shards. This means that if you get lucky, you can get one of these champions and they'll help you progress either in a clan boss, the dungeons, the campaign, or in the arena. First of all, guys, this is gonna be the champion that everyone wants to get immediately when they start an account. They might not even know that they need him, but once they get him, they realize how important he is. So it's gonna be Apothecary, guys. Apothecary has a reason to be the top rare in my opinion, even from voids. Although we're covering non-voids in this video, he is the top rare in my opinion. Because of his skills, Apothecary can even be used in the end game, can even be used in ultra nightmare setups that can be successful and do like 20 million damage at least. His A1 is a 3-hitting A1. This is great. It does do a lot of damage for lots of the dungeons. It also helps for the Fire Knight. His A2 is what makes him substantially greater. It's a heal that can crit and has a 2-turn cooldown. This means that if you have your Apothecary fast enough, especially in the dungeons, he can do 2 turns before the enemies and manage to heal up one of your teammates that's very low on health. So once you get Apothecary, he will definitely have a spot in your team. And of course, Apothecary is also great because of his boon of speed. Plays a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. Fills the thermometer of all allies by 15%. So not only you boost the speed of your allies, so they go much quicker than before by 15%, but they also gain a buff of 30% increased speed. This will also make them be faster in the subsequent turns that your allies will take. So these are 3 turns cooldown, only requiring rare skill books. Apothecary, in my opinion, is a top rare that you should get. And of course, after all that, he also has an aura that's great in the dungeons. Increases ally defense in dungeons by 21%. So you might be thinking, okay, I'm gonna go to the dungeons and gonna get attacked. No, that's not always the case. When you increase your defense, you increase your survivability. The more you survive, the more damage you can make in the long run for the dungeons. Finally, we're gonna look at his stats. The most important stats here, in my opinion, is look at his defense, guys. Over 1,000 defense for Apothecary, speed at 106. That's very high, extremely high, and extremely good to get on this champion. And the only gear really Apothecary needs is speed. Number 2 rare, in my opinion, is Frozen Banshee. Guys, if you didn't know, Frozen Banshee was a recently added champion with Battle Pass Season 1. So Frozen Banshee has significantly improved many teams through her poison sensitivity skill. Her poison sensitivity is her A3. What this basically does, it increases the damage dealt by poisons on an enemy, and especially for the clan boss. When you apply 25% poison sensitivity, all your poisons will do 25% more damage. So accompany Frozen Banshee with another poisoner, both will do 25% more damage. And of course, her A1 and her A2 are really great. A2 does not even work on auto for the clan boss, so this is extremely great for auto setups that also have a counter attack. So Frozen Banshee, guys, if you do get her, she's gonna be great in poisoning the enemies. She can even be used in some of the dungeons, specifically the dragon. Getting the dragon filled up with poisons makes him go down very fast, and she's gonna help you take that dragon 20 extremely quickly. Looking at her base stats, she's got over 1,000 attack, over 1,000 defense, and 99 speed. Those are very good stats overall for a rare. And being a rare, she also just needs a rare skill books. In my opinion, she's number 2 in the rares category. So number 3, guys, is Soulbound Boyer. She only has 366 reviews because she's a recent addition to the rare champion pool. And the reason for in my opinion that she's so great, guys, is because she's a rare and she's got a great deal of attack. Look at that, 1,255 attack, and also all of her skills, guys, get 25% extra chance to inflict a critical hit. If you think that's not enough, she also has an aura that gives her an additional 12% increased critical rate in all battles, which means she gets 37% critical rate if you put her in the leader spot. So you can significantly improve her gearing through focusing on other stats rather than just going for reaching that 100% crit. You can reach 66% crit with her, and then you can focus on everything else, being attack, critical damage, speed. So she's such a great champion that I use here in my Fire Knight 20 team. I have another video on her specifically showcasing how strong she is and how quickly she helps me farm through waves. So she's a great rare. If you do get her, you can max her out for sure. Her A3, this is also an amazing skill. Has a 75% chance to fully deplete the target's turn meter. When you fully skill up, it's gonna be a 100% chance to fully deplete the turn meter. This means that the enemy won't take a turn once you hit them with an A3. If the enemy is the spider, then the spider won't take a turn. This is like Coldheart's A3 skill, but Soulbone is instead a rare that can be found from mystery shards. So let's go to number 4. Of course, we're gonna have War Maiden. War Maiden is such a great champion that can be farmed from the campaign. Yes, that is true. From stage 9 of the campaign, you can farm this champion, and the reason she's so great, guys, is not only because she has such great high attack, like 1321 attack from a rare that's farmable. That's crazy good, guys. She also has a great A3 attack. Her A3 attack, Crumbling Blast, attacks all enemies, 75% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. Guys, you might not think this is good, but this is such an amazing skill that has an 100% chance to apply when you fully book her up at the 3-turn cooldown. This means that if you get lucky with applying the decreased defense debuff with your masteries, and that being a 3-turn duration, then you can keep this going throughout the fight. War Maiden is such a great champion that you can even take her to 60. Although her utility does not improve once you take her to 60. Getting that tier 6 mastery will also improve her damage a little bit on the bosses and also the clan boss if you want to use her in there. But what she does provide is she provides a great tool for you to kill those waves very fast. She's the only rare in the game right now that applies an AoE decreased defense debuff at 100% chance. This is so great because you don't need to rely on luck. RNG is out of the table. Once you have War Maiden, you fully book her up. You get her some accuracy, at least 200 if you want to do Dragons 20, for example, and she's going to help you take down that dragon very quickly. Once you get those waves down, you reach the boss, you have a poisoner in there, Dragon 20, very easy thanks to War Maiden. So guys, we couldn't have a top 5 non-void rares without talking about Kale. Kale is the strongest out of the 4 starter champions, and the reason he's very strong is because all of his skills have some sort of utility and provide lots of damage to your potential for your team. So his A1 applies poisons. It's a basic attack that applies a 2.5% poison. This is always great because the more poisons you have, especially in the beginning of the game, the more damage you're gonna do. His A2 is an AoE attack that also has a 50% extra chance of inflicting a critical hit. So you can get him at 85% chance to crit, and his A2 will still do a critical hit. After that, fills the turn meter of this champion by 25% for each enemy killed. So if you kill 3 enemies with this skill, you're gonna fill up your turn meter by 75%. You kill 4, you fill it up by 100%, which means Kale will get another turn. And then his A3, guys, Disintegrate, attacks 4 times at random, has a 40% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. So this is also great, guys, because this is what makes him do such tremendous amount of damage to the clan boss compared to the other 3 starter champions. 5% poison debuffs do 50,000 damage on the clan boss, for example, and multiply that by 4, that's 200,000 damage every single turn that the clan boss takes. Kale has really the best skill set out of the 4 starter champions. Of course, the other 4 starter champions, in my opinion, also have a place in the top 5. The reason being, they are gonna be the first ones that you're gonna have in the game. Unless you open some shards and get extremely lucky, you're gonna need your Ethel. Where's Ethel? Yeah, you're gonna need to take your Ethel at least to level 50, maybe level 60 if you don't get lucky by then, because Ethel will also have tremendous AoE. She's gonna help you clear the waves, and she's gonna be your campaign farmer. The same thing goes for Hain, guys. She's gonna be your starter champion. If you didn't pay Kale, this is fine. You can still go with Hain. She'll be your campaign farmer unless you get something very lucky out of the void shards or the sacred shards. She will be your campaign farmer, and she can do it very quickly. And the same thing goes for Galek. Galek is also one of the 4 starter champions. If we go to the orcs right here, Galek is also very strong in the beginning of the game in farming that campaign. There's much better champions after you reach the mid game and end game, but for now, if you just started the game, you can use Galek. Take him to 60. He's gonna be your farmer until you get something extremely good. So guys, I couldn't fit every single rare, of course, in this list, but there is some champions that do have a very strong position if you also get them, and one of them is being Coffin Smasher. Coffin Smasher is a recent addition to the rare champion pool, and the reason he's so great is because his A1 applies a decreased attack debuff for 2 turns, the strong version of the decreased attack debuff. So at the 3 hitting attack, you've got 3 chances at 30% to apply the decreased attack debuff. What decreased attack debuff does is basically give you more survivability. The more you survive, the more damage you do. He also applies an HP burn with his A2, and his passive also improves your survivability by decreasing the damage the boss does. He couldn't fit in the top 5 because his utility is single target only, and you cannot use him also in the dungeons in trying to beat the waves to reach the boss. Of course, once you reach the boss, his A1 should be useful, but before that, he's not going to be as useful as other champions. And another one in the list, of course, will be Crimson Slayer. She's not going to be in the top 5, but she does have a good place in being a rare that's going to be useful even in the end game, guys. Crimson Slayer attacks three times at random. This means that if you're hitting a boss like the Fire Knight, she's going to be hitting 3 times straight at the boss. Each hit has a 30% chance of placing a sleep debuff for 1 turn. These can also be useful on the waves. Once you apply a sleep debuff, it means the enemies won't take a turn until you hit them, or they finish all their turn meter fills to full, and they finish the loading of the turn. Flowing Sword, she also gets a 70% chance to decrease the target's turn meter by 50%, and that 50% is also gained by Crimson Slayer. So that's also very good in the Fire Knight's boss. It's also good in other bosses where you can steal their turn meter, because this is gonna make you get more turns with your champions, and more turns you get, the more damage you do, and you take that boss down much quicker. And Copious Bleed attacks all enemies, 80% chance of placing a 50% heal reduction and debuff for 1 turn. Of course, this is not always useful, but there are some waves in some of the dungeons that do have healers in there. For example, Apothecary as an enemy who will heal his allies being your enemies. So if you do apply an AoE heal reduction, it's gonna help you pass through those waves much quicker. And her aura is just an increase of ally attack in faction crypts by 70%. So guys, that top 5 was, in my opinion, the champions that you do need to take to 60 once you have those rares. Those rares are going to be very impactful to your team. Unless you have something that does do the same kind of skills that those champions do, then you should use those rares, take them to 60, and they'll be helpful even after you pass the mid game and you reach the end game. So thanks a lot, guys, for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a like down below. Comment on which other rare you think should be in the top 5 or maybe top 10 list, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya, guys.